just talking about college football and where's the landscape going to go? How's it going to look? Is the SEC really done? Joining us now, we're excited for this one, Mark Schipper. He's a Fifth Down College Football guy at Fifth Down College Football on Twitter, fifthdowncollegefootball.com. Mark, thanks for the time, man. First off, you went on an Odyssey last year, traveling the country and checking out sites and games and scenes. And the headline of your Twitter profile picture is you at a bunch of different stadiums, one of them including an Oregon-Washington game. I'm curious, what was the reasoning for that? And does it just seem like it was perfect timing for you, considering all that's happening right now in the sport, that you went on this Odyssey and this journey last year?
Hey, what's up, guys? Glad to be here. Yeah, that's it. I got a book on college football I'm writing, and my contention is that college football is inseparable from American history and culture. After the Civil War, it's far more than a game. It's the most personal sport ever created, and about a dozen other unique things. And my other premise was that college football is going down its old roads for a final time. So we're talking about a sport that goes back to 1869, spent 2 world wars in this country, played roles in both, social issues in this country, et cetera. And the sport itself was built a certain way, bowls and polls. You play a bowl game, they voted on a champion, et cetera. That's all changed, and it's about to really change. So I think we're going to get an expanded playoff. We're going to get some type.
Nope. Yeah, we just lost him.
Did we lose him? Well, why don't we try and get him back on the horn?
That actually might be better anyway, because that dumb clicking sound came back.
We're getting the clicking sound. We'll try and get him back on the horn. Yeah, so he's got pictures.
We're going to call McGinley someday at 6 a.m., and I'm just going to scream at him.
Why does this happen?
Damn it, Jeff.
Yeah, so he traveled the entire country, like starting with early season games. One of the stops he went to was the Oregon-Washington game. He was at an LSU game, the Michigan-Ohio State game, SEC championship. He's writing a book just kind of documenting that entire journey around college football. And it feels like, as he's pointing out there, it was perfect timing because we don't know what the new traditions will be. And traditions is one of the things in college football that I think has always set it apart from other sports. Like, it's not the pros. You don't get an expansion team in the NFL or new team names or teams moving cities and all that. Like, it's traditions. You've been playing the same rivals. Oregon and Oregon State have been playing for how many years?
Right,
forever. Michigan, Ohio State, like, you've been playing forever. So the tradition behind it is one of those things. Mark, we get you back. Sorry, we lost you there.
Yeah, I think we're back.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
you sound better,
look
too.
At that, huh? Whatever you did, it worked out. So, yeah, I mean, you're just talking about there's kind of the journey and how college football is likely not going to look the same anymore.
Yeah, Mark, can I add to this, too? Like, your journey sounds awesome. What in your life allowed you to go do this kick-ass year of, like, I'm going to go to all of these different places and have these experiences?
Well, one of the reasons I became a writer is because I get to set my own schedule. So when I decided I was going to write a book, I marshaled my forces and said this is going to be it. So it's not like this isn't into perpetuity. I'm not traveling like that every year. I called it the Odyssey because you kind of only make an Odyssey like that once. So I marshaled forces. It meant enough to me to write this. It's going to be my first book. So I just went out and did it, kind of damn the torpedoes.
It seems like a great way to spend a fall. I mean, just traveling around the country and seeing games. Now, let me ask you this, man. As somebody who obviously loves the sport, you cover the sport, you're writing about the sport, you understand the tradition and the pageantry and all that. And I think that's what makes college football special and unique and separates it from pro sports. Nobody knows the answer to this, but I'm curious as somebody who's plugged in to ask you, what do you think all of this change in the landscape movement, what do you think it's going to do to the sport in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years?
Yeah, they're in a dangerous spot, in my opinion. They risk alienating a fan base that goes back generations, that's passed down a very specific iteration of this game that may no longer exist. So they need to be cognizant of that balance, and sometimes it feels like they're not. So if you talk to most college football fans, they don't want to see NFL Junior, and yet it seems the powers that be are creating an NFL Junior. So it's extremely important to keep the roots of this game as much intact as possible. It's regional, it's local, it's about rivalries. The sport was built on rivalries. If you look at my schedule last year, I went to mostly historic rivalries because I want to use them to tell the story of those regions and the story of the country at the same time. So, what they're going to end up having to do if we continue down this path is create a new generation of fans, the kids who are coming up now who will be 8 and 9 when they form their first memories of the sport. and it was this new version, and they'll never have known anything else. So what college football has to hope for is that this next generation loves the sport as much as the old generation. So I think it's a delicate balance, and it's a dangerous sort of game they're playing.
Yeah, I have this image of myself, Mark, when I'm 80 and I'm on my rocking chair on the front porch, and my grandchildren come running out and they're like, I can't wait for big rivalry, USC, Ohio State. And I'm just going to be like, oh, get out of here. You don't even know. You don't even know what this is like. What was your least favorite place to visit? We need some truth here. What was the stadium that you were maybe excited to go to and the experience just didn't serve up as good a time as you thought?
Oh, no. How can you guys do this to me? You know what? I will give you an answer, and it may be a touch disappointing, but it's a real answer. I went to Harvard-Yale at the Yale Bowl, and I went there because Harvard and Yale really, along with Princeton, built this sport way back in the day. Now, the Yale Bowl is the Rose Bowl in miniature. The Rose Bowl took the model of the Yale Bowl and expanded it, built a bigger version in Pasadena. So extremely historic stadium. The issue with it is that's still supposed to be a big rivalry game, and it was an empty stadium, basically half full maybe, and it wasn't the energy I wanted at Harvard Yale. So they did make up for it a bit. Harvard stormed the visiting field when they won and emptied out their section onto Yale's field, which kind of made up for it at the end. But the atmosphere at the Yale Bowl, I wish would have been a little bit better.
Well, you ended up at the Michigan-Ohio State game, I believe. So if I ask you the best, was that the best one of the year?
You know what? That's going to be hard to beat. Yeah. It's hard to beat because Michigan has really fallen behind Ohio State, and they're trying desperately to make up. I'll tell you, when I went to that game, I stood up at the edge of Michigan Stadium and looked out, and I could just see people marching in for miles. It was amazing to watch the crowd come in, and it was snowing all day, so it was like a very picturesque Midwestern late-season game. And then the upset, and I don't know if Michigan Stadium has ever had its field storm like that. I mean, the teams couldn't get off the field. They were announcing on the PA, please make room for Michigan to get back to the locker room. They can't get off the field, so it was absolutely one of the most memorable college football scenes I've ever been around.
You're in the Central Time Zone. You give us your thoughts, and it doesn't matter. You don't hold back here. We are a show of being honest and truthful, and if it hurts, it hurts. How do you view the Pac-12 / Pac-10 and what it's going to be? How do you view the conference from where you're at?
Well, I love the Pac-12, first of all. So I'm a guy who gets out and stands up for the Pac-12. Unfortunately, I hope you guys don't hate me, but I'm a UCLA graduate. So, Pac-12 football, because I grew up in Big Ten country, though. I was born in Iowa City, grew up in Minneapolis. I grew up with Big Ten football. So to me, the Big Ten Pac-12 relationship, Pac-10, was extremely special. The Rose Bowl, the crown jewel of college football. So I love the league. I'm worried about it. I want to know who they're going to add. I think George Kliavkoff is the right guy to have in charge. I think he's a brilliant guy. I think the Pac-12 really did him a disservice by giving him a vessel with a hole in the bottom of it and made his job really difficult. So I hope Kliavkoff is the brilliant guy I think he is. And the Pac-12 comes through this. Too many great universities, too many great brands, too much history in this sport to go out with a whimper.
Can we get you to give up your fandom? Can you ditch the UCLA thing? Like we really hate that school now. I got to be honest with you.
You bailed on us, man.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be tough going forward. These next 2 years are going to be interesting on the field and court.
It's going to be a little awkward. You guys better hope. But you don't want to be Texas, right? Like Texas bolted the Big 12 and then ended up being terrible last. Maybe they're better this upcoming season. But everybody's going to want to beat UCLA and USC whenever they play. When's the book coming out? You got a date set yet?
Yeah, I don't have a date, but it's going to be written throughout this. It was supposed to be done originally for this off season, but the revolution that I thought was coming came a little quicker.
Right.
And if I wrote that book when I would have, it would have been obsolete quickly. So after this season, it's going to be done and it'll be ready to go for the next off season. And I'm gonna be sure to let people know about it.
Okay, there you go. Mark Schipper, Fifth Down College Football. Go check out the website, fifthdowncollegefootball.com, on Twitter at Fifth Down College Football. Thanks for the time, man. Keep fighting the good fight and standing up for college football. And we really appreciate it here in Portland.
Thanks, guys. Had a great time. Hopefully we can do it again.